everyone, thank you guys so much for taking the time to meet with me today. I am going to be doing my monthly overview of the month of October. Okay, so we're just gonna go through all of my expenses. This has not been the best month for me in terms of my shopping spending. Let's quickly look at the damage that I did this month. Let's go ahead and get started. So let's now take a look at kind of how I did for the full month of October. It's been an absolute crazy month. So your spreadsheet is always a work in progress, right? Don't feel like you have to get it perfect the first time. You will keep having to adjust it every single year because your needs are constantly changing. And for me, even how I'm structuring my spreadsheet keeps changing. So I keep making adjustments as I go. It's not a big deal. So for November, for week 4, I brought in $271.21 and I spent about $2,539.04, which tracked with how much I spent the week before. I started the month really with very, very low expenses at $518, but then it just kept going up and up and up. So I brought this up in my previous video, but this month I did not submit an expense report. And because I did not submit an expense report, what you guys see here is a lopsided amount. I'm negative in terms of my net income. However, I still paid off all of my credit cards at when they were due, because I was just able to pull in from my own savings account. But I know that that money is coming, so it's not like the money is not going to come. I just was too busy this month to put in those expense reports. Shame on me, but that's what happened. And let's take a look at my actual expenses and how I did. At the end of the month, when it comes to auto and transport, I budgeted $250, only ended up spending $93.12. For bills and utilities, I budgeted $4,000, I was close, spent $3,913, and that gave me a surplus. I had left over $86.50. Business services, I budgeted $500, ended up spending $863. That's a negative of $364. That's a big deal. For education, I budgeted $0. Now for education, you're gonna see me change this in the next month, but under education, before I used to put tuition here, now I'm going to start putting my student loans. I knew it was coming, but for some reason, I thought I was going to put it under bills, so I did not budget for that. But moving forward, I will be budgeting for this student loan payment and maybe start working towards getting rid of this here soon, but I don't know how well that's going to do. So that put me over budget by $523.57, but that was really a rookie mistake. I should have anticipated that. I should have added it to the budget because I knew it was coming and I had anticipated this payment. Entertainment, $30. Something is off here. I'm missing an expense. Okay, I think I may know why. Yeah, so that showed up in September. Yes, so that showed up the very last week of September. Okay, so we're fine. Fees and charges, $113. I was over budget by $1365. Financial, I paid extra into a credit card payment, so that puts me above budget by $800, but that's by design. Health and fitness, I'm under budget by $50. Personal care, okay, so this should not be personal care. I'm going to change this should be fitness, not personal care. This is why I do my spreadsheet differently, right? So I do an overview, true weekly overview, and then I do a monthly overview. Because what's being reflected here, why my entertainment was not reflected, is because here I like to keep it in that weekly analysis. But then I also have a monthly analysis where I just pull from the first of the month to the last of the month. So here it looks like I overspent by $300, but I did not overspend by $300. The days of the month just fell. Just the way I set up my weeks are just different. But when I do the actual monthly overview, you will be able to see that I was on track. Personal care, $16. Taxes, yes, this one is always $450, never more, unless I want to pay extra into it. And that's usually because I do have the money and I'm paying extra into it on purpose. So for my total, for all of my personal expenses here that are non-utilities, food and shopping related, I had budgeted $6,380. I ended up spending $6,973.78, making me above budget by $593.78. Now, for most people, that almost $600 seems like a lot, but for me, considering how much damage I did this week, it's actually not that bad. I don't know, but it is what it is. Now let's look at utilities. This month, it looks like I only paid $100 in utilities. Yes, so I have to go once again make sure I check on that. That's really odd. I hope I'm missing expenses because it feels like I've paid a little bit more into that, but we'll look into that. I had expected $150 in electricity. I only paid $100. Water, I am going to remove my water from here because it has been showing up on my rent now. I think my water last month was like $15 or $20, but also when I travel a lot, right? I'm not here spending money on electricity or water. But for some reason, electricity cost here in LA, for me at least, I think is ridiculously expensive. But it is what it is. Gas, $50. I think I'm also going to put a 0 on that because my gas bill is also included in my... Actually, what am I doing? That's what I need to do for next month. Look at me getting ahead of myself. So food and dining. Walmart expenses, I had budgeted $400. I ended up spending $392.61, putting me under budget by $7.39. Groceries, I had budgeted $50. So the reason why I have Walmart and groceries separately, even though most of my groceries come from Walmart or Amazon Prime, Amazon Fresh or Whole Foods, I actually every once in a while will stop by Aldi or another grocery store. So I have a broader category just for groceries alone. So on that one, I ended up spending $292.82. That put me over budget by $242.82. My dining out is $100. I only spent $18, putting me below budget by $81.75. I do have to say this though, this is why I have the broader categories and the itemized categories, right? Because it gives me room to kind of within those take money from some and pull money from. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm playing, right? So if I did not spend enough on dining, then I can put it towards food. So in the end, in this category, I had budgeted $550 and I only ended up spending $487.85, putting me below budget by $62.15. So even though it kind of seems like I was over budget on some subcategories, overall in the category I was on budget, right? So at the end of the day, I always try to look at where I am in the bigger category as opposed to the little subcategories. Shopping, whoo! We'll leave this one alone, you guys. We did some real damage. For some reason, I went buck wild on Amazon this month. I budgeted $200, ended up spending $932.01. I'm just in the red here, putting me above budget. So I was above budget by $732.01. Clothing, $200, ended up spending $363.61. putting me above budget by $163.61. And others was $37.19, putting me above budget for that by $37.19. And for this subcategory, I had planned on spending $400, ended up spending $865.64, putting me above budget, of course, by $465.64. Now let's look at all of my total personal expenses for this month. I had budgeted $7,730, ended up spending $8,427.27, which is about I was over budget by $697.27. I think this is the first time in this total category of personal spending that I've actually been over budget, and all of it is coming, most of it, a little bit, some from my education here. I don't really count this. This is why here it's a little bit different, because I don't count this as being much of an overspent. It was just an omission in my budget, but most of it is coming from the shopping, me not getting a hang of my shopping. Now let's look at my work-related expenses. Work-related expenses, I'm less of a stickler on here because I get this money back, but this was a light travel month for me. Airfare, $410, that's from the previous month. I had budgeted $3,000, only spent $410. Taxi, $200, ended up spending $145.18. I had an event where I stayed a little bit further away to save money on hotels. But then I was not about to walk 15 minutes every time to the convention center to go to attend meetings. So I did Uber, and $6 here, $9 there, turned out to about $26.51. Still not bad considering the fact that my hotel was almost 50% less than the ones that were closer in walking, like 5-minute walking distance to the convention center. Hotels, I had budgeted $1,500, ended up spending $1,805.63. So this one, I think I had kind of anticipated that this was coming. Food and dining, I had budgeted $1,000, ended up spending $1,258.39. I honestly could have budgeted more for this section, because what happens is when I am not traveling a lot out of state, I stay in and I end up doing a lot of entertaining on site. So I'm not paying a lot on airfare and hotel. This time it was different because I actually did pay for hotels on site. I mean, in state where I am in California, but normally it's less in hotel and airfare but more in food and dining. Fuel, $200, I didn't spend any. Car rentals, spent $500, budgeted $500, spent $331.05, putting me below budget by $168.97. Conferences, industry events, I budgeted $350, ended up actually spending $608. Others, I didn't have any miscellaneous. So overall for this category, which is where we really focus on, I budgeted $6,750 total. I ended up only spending $3,339.88, putting me below budget by $2,190.87. So that's an overview of kind of where my expenses were for the month of October. Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate having you here. If you like this video and want to see more of everything that I have coming up, credit card videos, new alternatives to Mint, more of my own personal spending journey and my plans in terms of real estate, etc. in the future, please subscribe so you can see all of these videos that are coming up.